I moved into a new apartment last month. It's nothing fancy, but it's my first place on my own, and I was excited to finally have some independence. The building is old and creaky, but it has character. Or so I told myself when the radiator groaned at night, or the pipes banged in the walls. There's one thing about the apartment that I can't quite shake, though. At the end of the hallway, there's a door that doesn't open. It's not my door, but it's right next to mine. There's no number on it, just an old brass handle and wood that looks like it hasn't been touched in years. The landlord told me it's just a storage room and not to worry about it. But the more I stared at that door, the more I got the feeling that something wasn't quite right. A week after moving in, I noticed that the door was slightly ajar when I got home, just a crack, like someone had nudged it open. I paused, staring at the darkness inside. I couldn't see much, just a sliver of black. I quickly brushed it off. The wind, maybe. The building shifts, things move. I shut the door and went inside my apartment. That night I heard faint noises coming from the hallway. I couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was, scratching maybe, or something dragging across the floor. I pressed my ear to my door, heart racing, but all I could hear was my own breathing. I went back to bed, trying to ignore the feeling that something was watching me. The next morning, the door was open again. This time it was wider. I could see more of the room now, but it was still too dark to make out any details. I called the landlord, irritated, and asked if he had been in there. He paused for a long time before saying, "No one goes in there. Just don't touch it. The lock's been broken for years, but no one's been inside." I hung up, feeling unsettled. I tried to put it out of my mind, but the door was all I could think about. It was like it was daring me to look inside. That night, I heard the noises again, louder this time. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed a flashlight and stepped into the hallway. The door was open, wide enough for me to squeeze through. I hesitated, my heart pounding. Something felt off, but I had to know what was in there. I stepped inside, the beam of my flashlight cutting through the darkness. The room was empty. No furniture, no boxes, just bare walls and a dirty floor. The air was thick and cold, and I could see my breath fogging in the beam of light. There was something wrong with the walls. Dark stains that looked almost like water damage, but more organic, like something was growing inside them. Then I heard it, a faint whisper, so close it felt like it was right next to my ear. I spun around, but the room was still empty. I backed up, my heart hammering in my chest, and tripped over something soft. When I turned the flashlight down, I saw what looked like a small, crumpled blanket. But as I stared, I realized it wasn't a blanket at all. It was a pile of clothes. And they weren't just any clothes, they were my clothes. The ones I had been missing since I moved in. The whispers grew louder and the walls seemed to pulse like they were breathing. I stumbled backward trying to get out, but the door slammed shut. I pounded on it, screaming, but all I could hear were those whispers, hushed voices, speaking in a language I didn't understand. Then the scratching started again, only this time it was coming from inside the walls. Something was in there, clawing to get out.